my fellow comic book collectors, it's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is not really an unboxing, but more of a haul video where I went to the Ottawa Comic Con, I did some searching, and if you haven't seen that video, check out my Saturday video where I basically show you the hunt that I went through to get some pretty big books. I almost felt like I should have recorded where I was doing the trades because there was some pretty cool action, like where I was trying to get the best from these dealers, and also, you know, some of the thought processes. It was pretty interesting trading my books for their books, and I was trading. I showed it in the Saturday video which books I traded. The first book that I traded was Jammer Kids. It was my under copy, which was graded at a 3.5. And I looked it up, and the fair market value on it was only $40. I was like, oh man, it's not a very valuable book. Even though it's the Jammer Kids #1, you'd think it should be like a big book from 1948, I believe, or 1947. I would have thought it would be a very big book, but no, not that valuable. So I went in with fair values, and I negotiated based on that. I wanted to get some cool books in trade. So the first guy, he was like, he actually really liked the Jammer. And the thing that I really thought was interesting was the dealers, they respected the books that I brought, and they actually said that they would, I think all of them said that they wanted to have the books go into their personal collection. So I thought that was cool, that not only they saw the value in trade, but they also saw the value for their own collection. So the first dealer, I had $40 to work with because he was only interested in the Jammer, which was interesting. So I had $40, so I picked out a bunch of books, and I'll show you which ones I picked from him. So the first one I found was X-Men, number 303, and I do a book club on the Biggie Shack network, and we were talking about X-Men 304. However, in X-Men 304, they kept on talking about this book, and I'm like, what's, why do they keep on talking about this book? Well, in this book, it is the death of Magic, Ilyana Rasputin, and this is kind of a key book for her death. And it plays a pretty major role in 304. So I really wanted to get this book and got it for $2.50, $2.50, pretty cheap. The next one was Scorpio Rose. And this is actually a series that features the very first artwork by Todd McFarlane. His first published artwork was in this series. So I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. This is not Todd McFarlane. It has nothing to do with Todd McFarlane, this book in particular, because it's just the first of the series. For $3, I thought, hey, why not? And this is all in trade anyways. So yeah, so I thought, kind of a cool book. This one I just picked up because I thought, wow, this is such a weird one. And like the whole time when I'm picking out these books, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to compete with Matt. I want to compete with Matt on finding the best covers and finding the best first appearances. So the one that I found, I thought was maybe a really cool cover, maybe a good for the cover challenge, was this one, Yarn Man. I just thought it was so hokey and weird that definitely one that would be kind of a fun one to, even if it doesn't win best cover, I thought it would be a fun one just to show. So yeah, that was the thinking behind that one. And then the next one, I was trying to find, so I was asking, I didn't, like, this was like $3 plus, another, like it was a total of maybe $9 Canadian, just like nothing. So I was like, hey, I'm really looking for a first appearance. I need a first appearance to kind of battle out with Matt. And they said, oh, well, I only had $40 to work with. So it's not like they're going to bring some Braille book. But they did find me a very cool book as a first appearance. And it's this one, Captain Action. Now, this is Captain Action #1. And you got Captain Action literally pushing Superman out of the way. And this is his first appearance in Origin. So very cool book. Captain Action, I think they used him very little, but he is a character that is kind of a cool, kind of a cool DC character. So Captain Action #1, and that's his first appearance. They had it at $30. I thought, hey, why not? Next one was Elvira. I said, okay, well, that was actually the $40. I was trying to sneak in a couple of things. That's what I always do. I just try to get maximize my trade. And this one I really liked. It's a nice cover appearance of a photo cover of Elvira. And it's also got that EC kind of style to it. This trade dress is very EC style. But I really like Elvira. It's a photo cover. It's the photo variant. I think it's probably a little bit overpriced. $10 seems a little high for it. But as a trade, hey, why not? I think I got my money's worth by getting this extra book. So, yeah, I don't know. I like Elvira too. So that'll go into my Elvira collection. So that's what I got for my Cassinjammers when I traded that. The next trade that I did was my low-grade copy of Love Confessions, which was an L.B. Cole cover, very cool Golden Age book. Now, I was talking to one guy, and he had like amazing Golden Age books, actually, really amazing books, priced at amazing prices. Just well beyond what I was able to spend that day. It was like $3,000 to $4,000 per book kind of level. And one of them is actually like 2 or 3 of them were actually pretty high in my want list, but I just don't have the money right now to pay for those. So, I was like, I'm really interested in those. They're really cool. But he had other stuff, and he had some modern books as well that I thought, those are kind of interesting. And he had 2 bundles, and the prices on the bundles were $60 each. And these were the 2 bundles. And it was really this first bundle that got me interested. So the first bundle, it looked like this. It was just a bundle, and it was priced at $60. And I was like, hey, that's a really cool cover. I really like it. So I know that I paid about $100 for my Confessions of Love. So I was like, okay, $100 worth of trade. How would you give me the 2 bundles, each bundle being $60? Would you be willing to trade? And he said yes. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I traded Golden Age for some modern. This is a modern series. I opened it up. It's basically, it's kind of like a magazine inside, where they talk about like B movies and exploitation movies and stuff like that. So it's actually quite interesting. Not a comic inside, but just interesting stuff inside. If you're interested in the sort of trash cinema, I guess it would be considered, and thus the name Cinema Sewer. But I thought the covers are quite cool on this series. So I'm going to show you the covers. So this is the first one, the one that hooked me on the idea of getting it. And then we got this one. They're really great covers, though, if you look at them. Cinema Sewer. Was not familiar with the series at all. I just thought it was, sometimes I like things and I'll go with it, right? I thought this one was pretty cool. Got this one. It's really fun stuff. I should probably say the numbers. So these were like, when they were sold originally, they were $5 each US. So I think they priced it fairly at $60. So yeah, but they had kind of fun covers. I thought this one was really interesting. Just different art styles too, like very like no consistency between any one issue, because very different artists did the covers. You can see just very all over the place in terms of the artwork, but very cool artwork. So, And so that's the first bundle. And then this was the second bundle. I was like, hey, if it's anything like the first bundle, it might have some cool things. So I just took a gamble on it. It was pretty cool stuff. So they've got this one, nice little tentacle thing going on there. Post-apocalyptic kind of cover. I thought this one was really cool. Not sure who the artists are, but definitely I like the artwork. And then this one was kind of cool. Little bondage thing going on there. This one's, as I said, very different art styles and between any two issues. It's just, I mean, this is a very different art style. This one. Oh, Robbie the Robot looking guy in the back. What does this say? Lust in Space. Obviously, you can see that it's very exploitation kind of movies. But I think it's cool. I used to really get into a magazine called Draculina, and this kind of reminds me of the comic book format of that. So yeah, so that was the bundle. And I figured, hey, for one, you know, I get to trade one of my comics, and I got a big stack of books for that one comic. So those were the first two comics that I traded. And the last two comics that I traded were my Pre-Code Horror one, which was Dark Mysteries, and my Mad #6. And I traded for this stack. So this was a much more even trade, actually. I think, you know, I kind of worked out something on it. So what happened was, this is a book that I actually wanted for a while. It's just a variant cover that I thought was always really cool. I always wanted to get a slabbed version of it, actually. Now, this book used to be expensive, but the price has really come down. I looked it up on eBay, because when I saw his price, and I'll show you, I thought it was overpriced. I was like, I don't really want to trade based on this price, because I looked it up on eBay, and I could see that you could pick it up for about $36. Okay, and so I showed him when I was doing the trade that, hey, your price is a little high, and I'll show you what I mean by this. So this is he had a price of $125 Canadian, which is about $90 US, maybe 85 US actually. So yeah, so I sort of talked him down. I said, hey, that's a little bit high for what this book normally would go for. I showed him the eBay price. And he was like, yeah, it probably was high, and then it came down. But this book was hot for a little while, because it is a key book. This is Amazing Spider-Man #700, the variant cover. This is the death of Spider-Man. And it's just a very, you know, it's got the kind of classic cover on it. I forget what the painting is that this is homaging, but it's like the cafeteria one. But I just thought it was really cool. I always liked this cover. I always thought it was a really interesting one, and I wanted to pick it up, and I wanted to get it slapped. So he happened to have it, and he was willing to kind of treat it based on that value, which was really nice of him. So that one was the only one I kind of negotiated a little hard on. So I traded 2 books, and I picked up these 3. The other 2 that I really, really wanted to get, and I think they're both cool, I think his prices were fair on them, were this one, Justice League of America, #7. Yeah, #7. I always loved this cover. I always wanted to get this one for my collection. And it's just such a it's such a hokey cover. You got them all looking at the mirrors, the Funhouse mirrors, and they think that the Funhouse mirror is just kind of showing an illusion of what they look like, but they actually look like that. That's the charm of it. So it's really a really cool book for Justice League. It's early Justice League, nice early Silver Age book. and I just always liked it. Like, it's one of the last 10-cent ones. So whenever you see the 10-cent in this box like this, it's kind of like the last of the 10 cents issues. They switch soon afterwards to the 12 cents. But this is just a really cool book. He had it priced at 150 US, which would be about 110 US. Okay, so I thought, and the grade, it seems like a fairly solid grade. I would say maybe, I think a grade maybe a 6, probably be a reasonable guess. 6, maybe 7. It's a pretty solid grade. No, I don't see any spine ticks or anything, any major issues. It could be pressed, I would say, but it does present really, really well. So yeah, so I thought, hey, that's a reasonable price. And so when I was trading, I was looking at his value, and we were kind of working out as being worth about 380 Canadian. And so the books that I traded were worth about 380. So it was a fair trade. So yeah, so this is the second one. And this one actually, I thought that when I kind of did the trade, I actually thought that I didn't realize that this was actually a bit of a steal on my part. I didn't realize that his pricing was actually a little bit low on this one. So this is another one. This is Spy and Counter Spy number 2. And this book actually goes for a fair amount of money. He had it priced at 150 Canadian, which is about 110 US. I looked it up on eBay, and generally this book goes for, in this grade, maybe even lower grades than this, for about 200 US. So about twice what I actually had traded for. This book is actually a pretty pricey one. And it's a cool one. It's one that I've always liked because it's such a hokey cover. The reason I say it's a hokey cover is you got this girl, and she's, you know, a spy, obviously, and she's getting her disguise removed. But but they're looking for her. She's got this wanted poster in behind her. And it's just like so silly because it's she's exact same as the wanted poster. So basically the only difference that there was that she was wearing a red wig. So it's not much of a disguise if you're wearing the exact same dress and have the exact same hairstyle underneath. But you know, it's such a cool cover. I always like this one. And as I said, it goes for probably about 200 to 220. I'd be sort of fair market value for it. So I thought that was a great one. I didn't realize I had gotten such a steal on it. And so those are the 3 books that I traded. So I got 1 Golden Age out of it as well. So that one Golden Age, 1 Silver, and 1 Modern. So that was my trade. Tell me, you know, I traded 4 books for all of these. What did you think? Tell me in the comments below. Did I do well? You know, it's always fun to trade, not have to spend any of my own cash, which is always great. You know, go with you know, my under copies and get some new stuff that I've been looking for. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned. My new Stackery unboxing is coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.